the Freedom 250 organizers in just a few. We are located in the district's Emergency Operations Center, DCHCEMA, and we want to provide an early briefing of what the public can expect regarding the preparation for Freedom 250. As you saw, in just a few weeks, we will see the Freedom 250 Grand Prix make history in D.C. With D.C.'s first ever IndyCar series in Washington. So we're very excited about that. And you notice I said first, to be followed by second and third. It's an exciting opportunity to showcase our city to a global audience, welcome hundreds of thousands of viewers and in-person guests as well to mark this race in the district. So we will see, of course, the iconic landmarks that make up the nation's capital reflected in this race course and on screens around the world. So an event of this scale requires months of planning. So I want to thank my team. I want to thank our federal law enforcement partners as well as the race organizers. District agencies have been working alongside these partners for a fantastic event for many, many months, as I mentioned. A lot of the teams had a very busy summer getting ready for the events of the Freedom 250. So now we're asking the community to prepare as well. Obviously, an event of this size will require a lot of setup and preparation. The event takes place on August 22nd and 23rd. But you will begin to see some restrictions and changes to the roadway already because the construction of the course and the viewing areas has begun. There will be temporary road closures, parking restrictions, and impacts to traffic. And as we get closer to the event, we strongly encourage everyone attending the race or heading downtown on race days to, of course, plan your travel and use Metro. It will be best to leave all of the downtown driving on the race course, and we will post updates as we have them on 250.dc.gov. We also want people to text DC 250 to 888-777 to get real-time updates about the event. So I want to end my remarks by thanking our team for working tirelessly and for just embracing the opportunity to showcase DC in this way and to welcome the tremendous economic impact that this has for our city, bringing people to spend time in our hotels, go to our restaurants, and enjoy their nation's capital. And I want to encourage DC residents, of course, to do the same. So now I want to introduce Bud Denker from Penske, who is the lead organizer for this event, and really thank Bud for his vision. Early in the process, Bud came to visit with us to share his idea, get our input, and ask for our partnership. And since that day, I have been very impressed with how comprehensive Bud's evaluation of DC as a site for this race has been, and his great commitment to make it a world-class event. So with that, Bud Denker.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's been a pleasure working with you and your team as well. Here we are in the HCEMA location here. I want to call out Tanya Mitchell, who's chief of HCEMA, and she has been an absolute dream to work with and a partner along the way. Tanya, if you're here or not, thank you. And all the agencies that are here, Chief Carroll, another person I want to call out is is Commander Bagshaw, who runs your, now it's SOD. There's a lot of acronyms in the city, right? Special Operations Division. I'm catching on, but he has been an absolute partner of ours along the way, too. I've never seen a city that comes together like this city does, and you can see around me and behind me the reason why it happens. Normally we go to a city and you have silos of people that work in different functions. Here, you all come together. Why? Because you do it so often, and you do it so well. And my congratulations to you all. You've had a long summer. You've had a long, long summer, and we're the one cog in your way from going to Labor Day where you can kind of take a little breath, right? But 23 days away from now, you're going to see the most amazing spectacle that we've seen on the city streets here in Washington, D.C. Our simulations show that on Pennsylvania Avenue, our cars will be about 185 miles an hour legally during that period of time. And that speed and that enthusiasm, the adrenaline, the sights, the sound, 100% renewable fuel we use in our cars, so we're not spewing any toxic gases out there. That's what we're all about, and exciting this city for our 250th anniversary. Madam Mayor, you mentioned, will we do it again? Let's see how it goes this year. And let's see how it goes. You know, you mentioned economic benefit. In Detroit, we put on the race in Detroit, and I've been doing it now for 18 years there. And Michael Montre, our president, Michael, raise your hand back here. Michael's in charge of this thing with me. We bring over $105 million of benefit to our city for that weekend every year. We're going to have double the amount of people coming to this race. I want to see double the amount of economic benefit. And what I understand is a softer time of the year, mid-August. We've had 288,000 tickets requested in 9 days. Our tickets are gone, okay? You can still get club seats. You can buy club seats still to our club, but the tickets are out there. They're gone, and we're going to have about 140,000 people a day come through the gates. A warning, use Metro. Use Metro to come down. There's no parking. There's no assigned parking. Our partners at Colonial Parking and others, they're just not going to be available to be used this time. So use Metro to come down. Last year's Super Bowl, there were 70,000 people at Levi's Stadium, 70,000 people. We'll have 140,000 people a day, 70,000 inside the race circuit. Last year at Super Bowl, they had 8 entrances. We're going to have 4 bridges. So to the people coming here, come early. Come early. Our gates open at 8 o'clock. Come early. The racing starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. So use Metro, use the buses. Chief and his team have got an amazing schedule performed in terms of how it's going to work, and he'll talk about street closures next. But I want to thank the Secret Service, the FBI, all the partners. Sharon, your roads in this city, believe it or not, people say, you've got very good roads here. We're doing very, very little construction to these roads. And if something happens during the race, we're responsible for fixing your roads and after the race as well, too. So I'll answer that question right now, okay? So, but your roads overall are in great quality. They're in great shape. I wish the rest of our cities were in the same shape as you are, Sharon. So thank you to Tom and your entire team for their partnership. So 23 days to go. Can't wait to get on these streets of your city, my adopted city, and look forward to seeing you all there. Chief, talk next about our road closures.
All right, well, thank you, Bud. I appreciate it. Again, I'm Jeff Carroll. I'm the interim chief of police here at the Metropolitan Police Department. The Freedom 250 Grand Prix will bring thousands of people to the district, and it's a tremendous opportunity to show our city at its best. The Metropolitan Police Department is fully prepared to support this event, and we're committed to ensuring that everyone who comes out to enjoy the race can do so safely. Throughout the race weekend, the Metropolitan Police Department will be on full activation. You'll see officers throughout the race area, along transportation routes, and in neighborhoods across the district. Residents can expect the same amount of police service they rely on every day, even while the Grand Prix is going on. I do want to take this opportunity to recognize our officers and our professional staff who have been working extremely hard throughout this very busy summer. Their dedication to the city and their commitment to public safety are what make events like this possible. I'm incredibly grateful for their hard work and their professionalism. We've been working closely with our D.C. government partners, event organizers, our law enforcement partners for months to prepare for this. The coordination is critical to ensure both public safety and a smooth event. As with any large-scale event, there will be significant road closures, parking restrictions, and traffic impacts surrounding the race course. The event build-out already began on July 22nd and has started to impact parking, curb lanes, and partial travel lanes along the mall area. Road closures will begin in the area on Saturday, August 1st, and they'll gradually increase in the area surrounding the racetrack, with many of the road closures going in place in the morning of Friday, August 14th. We encourage everyone to go to 250.dc.gov for the latest information on road closures, parking restrictions, and transportation options before you go out. And if you need to drive near the race course, as Bud said, please plan ahead. Allow extra time for travel and consider using Metro or other public transportation whenever possible. And finally, public safety is a shared responsibility. If you see something that doesn't look right, say something. For emergencies, call 911. For non-emergencies, you can contact MPD at 202-727-9099 or text us at 50411. We appreciate everyone's patience and cooperation as we welcome visitors from around the world and safely host another world-class event here in the nation's capital. And now I'll turn it over to Matthew Quinn, the Deputy Director of the United States Secret Service.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everybody. Again, Matt Quinn, Deputy Director at Secret Service. Just a few things this morning. First, can't not take advantage of this opportunity to acknowledge a few people and then make a few announcements. This has been a long summer for Washington, D.C. Mayor Bowser, Chief Carroll, Director Osborne, and must mention Deputy Mayor Appiah. We've asked a lot of all of you this entire summer. Thank you all for what you've done to help make all of these events throughout this summer, and we've got one more big one to go, safe and successful. It's our shared responsibility. Everyone standing up here on the stage behind me right now is unified. We're all on the same plan to make sure that this event goes off as safely and successfully as possible for the residents of Washington, D.C., from the people traveling in from all over the world to watch this historic event. So thank you all very much. And I have to mention Bud Danker, too. We've done a lot of national special security events, to SEER events, to major events all over the country. It has been a great partnership, and I probably will upset some other people, but have never worked with anybody that is so invested personally in making sure that this goes off with security in mind. So, Bud, thank you very much. Few quick announcements or things to expect. You're going to see a very high level of uniform presence throughout the city and around this event. Secret Service agents, Secret Service police officers, MPD, U.S. Park Police, FBI, across the board, you're going to see a large uniform presence. You won't have to look far to get help, right? And Chief Carroll mentioned, and I want to just reiterate, if you see something, say something. It is a shared responsibility to make sure that this goes off successfully and safely. I ask for your patience. No matter what we do in these events where freedoms meet security, there are inconveniences. We're going to do our very best to make sure we minimize public impact, but keep it a safe and successful event. What you can expect at the various checkpoints is TSA-style magnetometer screening. So clear bag policy is in effect. Plan ahead, sign up for the HCMA alerts. Listen to the traffic advisories, and as Bud said, please use the Metro. Technical countermeasures and the unseen things that we'll be doing to make sure this is safe. I won't get into them all, but I do think it's appropriate to mention drones, for example. If you think that flying a drone to get a great view at this event, I would think twice. In the most restricted airspace in the country or in the world, leave them at home. There will be lots of seen and unseen countermeasures deployed throughout the city to make sure that this goes off without a hitch, and everyone, race fans and public alike, have a great event through the weekend. So I thank everyone here, all of the partners working together to get this done, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody out there at the race. Thank you very much. Turning it over to Mr. Hilscher.
Thanks, Deputy Director. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Deputy Chief Frank Hilscher with the United States Park Police, Homeland Security Division. As we have throughout the summer, the U.S. Park Police is working closely with our law enforcement partners to continue to provide the highest level of safety and security to D.C. residents and visitors. The U.S. Park Police has committed additional officers to patrols and the Grand Prix event. As with previous 250 events, spectators can expect increased security measures, including road closures, which we've heard a lot. We strongly recommend using the metro, fencing and other barriers, as well as security screening to enter the event. Before arriving, remember to review the prohibited items list website to keep security line moving. And as we just heard, it's a no drone zone. So operating a drone without FAA or other required approvals carries stiff penalties. Unauthorized drones pose a serious.
What is China quietly doing inside America's most vulnerable systems? And is it all part of a long-term plan?
Public safety and security threat. The fencing and barriers are for your protection. Do not climb, attempt to move or dismantle them. If you're attending or watched a race before, you know flying debris is a hazard and an unpredictable one. Remember to check the weather forecast, plan, dress, and hydrate accordingly. And lastly, in the event of an emergency, please follow the instructions of the law enforcement officers. Their primary mission is your safety, and they are most familiar with the evacuation routes, shelter locations, and other emergency response plans. As always, if you see something suspicious, report it to an officer immediately. Thanks. And next, I'd like to introduce FBI Special Agent in Charge, Phil Bates.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. My name is Phil Bates. I'm one of the special agents in charge of the FBI's Washington Field Office. As we prepare for the Grand Prix, we once again are standing on stage with the key partners, some of the partners that we work with in order to ensure that every event here in the district is safe and closely coordinated. This is not something we do just during events. These are partnerships that are in place every single day, and we're grateful for those. As has been mentioned, this is a SEER-rated event, a SEER 1 event, which means the federal interagency comes together to ensure that all resources are available to our partners to ensure that this is a safe event. In this case, the FBI is responsible for crisis response as well as counterterrorism, both investigating threats and investigations, as well as the intelligence component. We ensure that our analysts are sharing key pieces of intelligence with the partners here and throughout the interagency in real time in the weeks leading up to the event as well as on race day. No tip is too small, and that's why we encourage the public, as has been said, to stay vigilant. We encourage the public to see something, if they see something, to say something, whether that's suspicious behavior, suspicious items, or has been mentioned, drones. This has been an unprecedented summer for not only special events here in the district, but around the country, particularly with FIFA. And with drones at FIFA, the FBI and the interagency collaborative team have seized over 700 drones. We want the public to know that they need to leave their drones at home. This is a no-fly zone, as was mentioned by the Secret Service, 365 days a year. And so leave those at home. There are stiff penalties. Jail time, fines up to $100,000, and of course the seizure of that drone. If you have information you'd like to share, please call 911, seek out the nearest law enforcement officer, or call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We hope for a safe and enjoyable event, not only for the fans, the general public, the race teams that'll be in town, and everyone in the city who is here to enjoy this wonderful city and the celebrations of America's 250th birthday. Thank you for your time today, and I'll now turn it over to WMATA GM Randy Clark.
Hey, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, Mayor, for having me as always. Appreciate the great partnership and all of our partners, and especially Bud. This is quite an event, and we're excited to work with you. With all the comments here, I think the pressure's on Metro for everyone to go to Metro. So, Bud, the only thing faster in this town than an IndyCar race is getting to another race on Metro. How's that, huh? That's pretty good. I worked that in. I was back there. I had to think of something to mix it in there. So I want to also take a moment and like everyone, really recognize our team at Team Metro. It has been a very long, hot summer. On top of all of our big special events, we are running a very significant Red Line construction project outage for the Purple Line integration. It will be our largest bus shuttle we've ever done. Over 400,000 people already on the bus shuttle in the last few weeks. The team is really looking forward to this event, and they're really looking forward to this event to be over. And then we can kind of get right back to school. So just really want to take a moment and recognize the Metro team and all of our partners. We are very excited for this event, though. Just like July 4th, we are very prepared and ready to have all the extra service needed. Just a reminder, on July 4th, we had our largest July 4th ever, largest in the history of Metro. 866,000 trips on Metro on July 4th, including 120,000 after midnight. Let's agree that we're not going to do post-midnight for the race. I think we all agree with that. But we are prepared. We are going to be running extra service as needed. You'll see this map behind me. This is the key, knowing where to go. If you have a ticket to the event, look on that ticket and then know the exact Metro station that best gets you there. We have 8 stations in the general perimeter, but really want to call out Archive stations, Federal Triangle, Smithsonian, Federal Center Southwest, and LaFont. If you're a Red Line customer, you might want to think of going to Judiciary or Metro Center and just walking to the event versus the transfer. But we will have extra staff. All of our police are engaged, and again, extra service. I will highlight there will be significant bus detours. We've had a fair amount throughout the city and the region already this summer. Obviously, with some construction going on for the race course, there's going to be ongoing bus detours. Please go to WMATA.com and detour and get all those updated detours if you're a bus customer. A couple last things to highlight. When you go to use the system, if you're not a regular user, tap, ride, and go. It means take your Apple phone, your watch, credit card, debit card, tap, enter, tap, leave. You don't have to worry about one of those old school smart trip cards. We want you to have a very frictionless, quick experience. There's Metro Pulse, which is our really great app that not only shows you real-time information on all trains and buses, but it's a way you could text and get real-time information. Highlighting, as everyone said, see something, say something. We have a very sophisticated police department with all of our partners with special operations. But obviously with an event like this, we always have more backpacks and other packages than we all would like. So if you're not going to have them obviously allow them into the zone, let's just think about not even taking them on Metro to begin with. And I think that would help everyone as well. Lastly, I want to highlight, we are going to be doing a special, Mayor, you're going to like this one. We have a special Freedom 250 Grand Prix Smart Trip card. And that's the big thing in Metro, obviously. So we'll stay tuned on social media and our press release with the more information on where those will be available and the counts, but we expect those to go very quick. Bud will make sure you get a really nice one of those to frame up, and the mayor will make sure there's another one for the next year and the year after. I thought I'd highlight that. But those are our limited edition, and they're going to be really fun. So again, please stay safe, everybody. Metro will be there to get you in and out. Go early. Have a little patience. This team of all partners know how to get you in and out safely, and have a great event. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank each of you for those comments, and I too want to acknowledge my public safety team that has just been really outstanding, and I couldn't be more grateful, led by Deputy Mayor Lindsay Apia, our HSEMA Director Clint Osborne, who is just behind me, our Chief of Police, Jeff Carroll, our Fire Chief, John Donnelly, and a special guest to the public safety team for this event, our DDOT Director, Sharon Kirschbaum. Please give them a round of applause. I also want to acknowledge my Chief of Staff, Tomas Talamonte, who leads our Special Events Task Force. And Tanya Mitchell has been acknowledged, who is just is the thread between all of these events over a lot of years. And I'm grateful to them for their leadership. So with that, I'll take a few questions. Yes, please acknowledge yourself. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Owen Hayes with NBC News. In terms of the total cost, do you have an estimate for that? And for, the road maintenance was addressed previously, but for things like that, MPD full activation, any other costs of putting this on, who's going to be paying for that?
Well, I will turn to Bud and let him talk about how he produces this event and how he's done it across the country. We will be supporting this event as we always support special events or large events in the nation's capital with our police department, our DPW, and in this case with DDOT. It has already been discussed that any improvements pre-race and post-race DDOT will handle, and we will be reimbursed. We have, in the district every year, argues for EPSF, a special security fund. And let me ask Deputy Mayor Apia to talk about that fund.
Sure. So our Emergency Planning and Security Fund is dollars that are allocated to us by the federal government because we do a lot of special events here. So this year we have $90 million that's been allocated to that fund, which is on par with an inauguration year like last year because of all of the 250 events. So those are the funds that we use to support all that you just heard that the mayor talked about.
Yeah, thank you for that question, because it's often the first one that comes up, right? Who's paying for what? So you have an idea of the race to put on in Detroit. I'm not going to give our budget here. Is over $20 million. This race is much more than that, and we're the ones responsible for that cost. Okay, except for the security that the mayor talked about and the agencies providing security. A little bit of road work's being done right now, working with the DDOT team. We're the ones that are primarily responsible for shouldering this event and shouldering all of those tens of millions of dollars it costs to put this race on.
Muriel with DC News Now. Just a question for spectators. I know that you need tickets to get, the free tickets to get into certain areas, but there's other spots spectators can watch. So does the security vary by different areas? And then also for people that don't have tickets, they're kind of free to just come up and watch? Are there areas, like can they go to the Lincoln Memorial and be able to see anything, or how does that work?
Sure, but
I'll stay up here maybe for a little bit. Yeah, there's, as I mentioned, 288,000 ticket requests have been provided. We acknowledged and provided 260,000 of those folks to come. So about 28,000 tickets were not available to come, just in terms of sheer size and scope, and getting them through efficiently through the mag and bag systems as well too. So unless you're at the racetrack, to answer your question, okay, remember we put up 1 meter high, 10,000 pound walls around our racetrack. Our cars are about 1 meter high. So unless you're on an elevated surface or close to the race circuit, you're not seeing those cars. The best place to watch it on, if you're not able to come to the event because you haven't got a ticket, is on Fox. Fox is carrying this race live on network, okay, from 1 o'clock. Actually, it started at 11:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, hour and a half pre-show. But if you don't have a ticket to the event right now, it's really difficult to see the track itself and to see the cars performing. There are tickets still available in our club, the Champions Club, that are still available. That's a hospitality experience for Saturday and Sunday. But really, unless you do go to the club, it's hard to see it unless you have a ticket. Now, for people that are at the event, we're going to put big screen TVs up from 3rd Street all the way to 12th Street with shade tents, with cooling tents, with concessions, with great concessions, and some entertainment. So if you are at the event, you're going to see a lot of activity going on besides the flyovers, besides the parades that go on around the event. But if you don't have a ticket, the best place to watch the race is on Fox, beginning at 11:30 on August 23rd.
Raphael with the WSA 9. Luckily we do have some comparisons given the events that have happened. Can we compare the safety screening to what we saw during the fireworks show? And then my second question is, during the fireworks show, we saw inclement weather. People had to be kind of rushed out. Did we learn anything from that incident where we saw people that weren't cooperating with law enforcement, or there was some confusion, some refusing to leave the perimeter area, that we're going to implement this time around in case we saw situations like we saw then and even last night?
Let me ask Deputy Director Quinn to speak to security in the MAGs.
Sure, thank you. To answer the question, if it'll be similar to July 4th, yes. Very similar in terms of if everyone in the city's probably been to a normal Secret Service MAG operation, MAG and bag. It will vary different times throughout the event of who's operating those systems, but the overall program will be very similar. In terms of the July 4th and the inclement weather, we learn from everything we do. We had identified locations just like at this event. We're expanding where those reload locations are, where those safe areas are to go, and communicating it well. We've added a committee to think about crowd movements and how we can do it probably more efficiently than we did last time. But to answer the question directly, very similar, and yes, taking into consideration inclement weather and where those safe havens are located.
Yes.
hear from you, because previously you said you would comment on the MPD crime data manipulation after the Inspector General report was released, and you ordered that report. Can you tell me why you haven't commented? Yesterday, I asked your office, had no comment. And can you also tell me, do you accept responsibility for what occurred under your administration with the police department?
Yes. And this is my first time before press since it was released. And I fully concur with the chief's remarks. And let me also say that I'm fully grateful for MPD and their work in driving down violent crime in the city. If we were talking in 2023, we would be talking about carjackings and homicides. What we're talking about today is the city rebounding from the effects of COVID and DOGE in one of the safest periods in our history. And I take full responsibility for that. Yes.
Two questions. One, I'm sorry, Mark Seagraves, Channel 4. But on behalf of all the other networks, thanks for the Fox shout out there. I heard the word flyover, and I'm just wondering if that will mean any disruptions to air travel at our local airports because of that.
Good question. Clint, do we have that, any impacts on?
We will expect to have. Good afternoon. Anytime we have a flyover in the National Capital Region, we're close enough to the two major airports that we will expect to see closures. You can go to the airport websites or social media accounts or MWA's airport social media accounts and website for updates on that. We will continue to work with the event organizers and all of our partners on any other impacts to the city.
So you don't have specifics on that just yet?
Not yet.
Okay, and then my other question was about weather, I guess maybe for Bud. Is there what would it take for weather to somehow impact this, whether it be heat or rain, that would either delay or cancel? Is there a rain date? What happens in that event?
Good question regarding weather. So this is a street course, so Indy cars race in the rain. We just change the tires and put rain tires on, right? It causes more calamity, but we do race in the rain. So unless there's lightning in the area, the show goes on. Okay, and if the show can't go on that day, we'll look for an alternative date, perhaps the next day as well too, with our partners. I do want to say, lessons learned from July 4th. NPS, Timothy Van Dyke, Captain Timothy Van Dyke, has provided us, and you'll see this information on our websites with the safe havens. There's currently 10 safe havens identified. The Smithsonian Institute, Air and Space Museum, the American Indian Museum, the National Museum of History. Those are all going to be handled by NPS, but then there's also 7 more that are staffed by the FPS as well that are all around the circumference of the area. So there's a lot of safe havens identified around our racetrack that I'm very confident in what the team has built here behind me to accommodate those situations if we have weather like happened for the 4th of July. But if it's raining, we race in the rain.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. 4, 3, 2.
Yeah. Hi, Emma Eber with CityCast DC. I'm just wondering, do you have an estimate of how many overtime hours MPD will work due to the race and an estimate of what that cost will amount to?
I don't have an estimate right now, the actual hours that MPD will work. We do know that the entire department will be on a full activation Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as there are events going with that. There also will be build out, as I mentioned, as some of the road closures come online. A majority of the area around the racetrack will begin closures around the 14th and kind of build out from there. So there will be additional costs for officers to staff some of those closures beforehand. Obviously, once the event's over, we'll have the full cost for that. Yep.
Thank you. Rachel Kurzius with the Washington Post. You mentioned potentially having future races like this in DC. Could you tell me a little bit like how serious you're being about that, and then also what success would look like that would create more of these races?
I'm very serious, and we have spent 12 years leaning into our sports and entertainment economy, and it's a part of our economy that is operating very well. So by 2030, we will have all of our professional teams in the city limits. We will have a brand new NFL stadium. We will have a $800 million investment completed at the Capital One Arena. And this summer, we got to test some other entrants into the sports capital. The UFC that built out a big production on the grounds of the White House, and now IndyCar. And so Dana White has said he would never do that again, and we don't want him to do that again. But he could go to Cap One Arena in their inaugural year, and that's what I'll be pushing him to consider. And we know, and I have visited, our team has visited a couple of sites across the country that do street races like this. We went down to Arlington. I was recently in Long Beach. I talked to the former mayor of Long Beach, who is now the Democratic ranking member for the Oversight Committee, who had great things to say about street racing in Long Beach and what it did for Long Beach. And so we want to obviously make the world know that DC is a place for world-class sporting events. Okay, a couple more. Yes.
Rebecca with 7 News. Question probably for Secret Service. Can you talk about what went into the designation of this event as a SEER 1 as opposed to a national special security event? And then are there any known credible threats to this event at this time?
Sure. In terms of designation, that process is managed through a committee process that Secret Service is a part of, FBI is a part of. It goes through a process and we make a recommendation. And in this case, based on all of the factors, the recommendation was that it would be a SEER 1 event. That decision goes to the Secretary of Homeland Security, who ultimately either approves or denies the designation. And in this case, based on all of the factors, the SEER 1 event, you could, not officially done, but you could consider this a SEER 1 plus. Agreements done and came together that all of government in DC and all the federal components agreed that we would support this to greatest ability we could. And your second part to that?
I'm not sure if this would be for FBI instead, but are there any known credible threats at this time to the event?
I don't have any to report right now, but I'll certainly offer it to FBI as well.
Yeah, thank you. At this time, we're not aware, or we have no credible threats to the event, but of course, as I mentioned, we will remain vigilant throughout the next 23 days and of course throughout the weekend, working with the interagency collaboratively to ensure that this is a safe event.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Jacob Bogage with Reuters. 2 questions kind of on separate topics. One on drones. It seems like there is a pronounced emphasis on drones, both civilian and otherwise, which I imagine be more problematic. Could you all walk us through a little bit why the pronounced emphasis on drones, and if there's things that you've seen from events earlier this summer regarding 250 where drones were concerned? That was one. And then I can move on to 2 right away. Yeah. The other one, and this might be for you, Bud, on roadways. When you do street races, what do you typically see both beforehand for build out and either during or afterward for repair and improvement? I guess what should folks around the city be expecting roads to look like and the work that you all put in afterward?
Let's start with the Secret Service.
Yeah, thank you for that question on drones. So overall emphasis is everything we're doing right now. I mean, drones represent a persistent threat everywhere. You don't have to look further than turn on the news and see what's happening globally with the use of the nefarious use of drones to cause problems, whether it's just a coordinated attack or assault or the looky-loos that create safety risks involved. So our focus is on it every day, nothing particular to this event. I will say the countermeasures that we have in place right now, we're seeing a slight reduction, but people may not realize drones, people attempt to fly drones in Washington, D.C. almost every day, even though it is the most restricted airspace in the world. and it just represents overall a rather large concern no matter where we go. My FBI colleague made the comment of the number of seizures at the FIFA events. Another good reason to make sure we have robust countermeasures in place for this event, and we will.
I should have mentioned also, you know, we're in the business of not causing a lot of disruption to you all. There obviously will be some, but our construction, which begins on August 1st, will be going on from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So we're off your streets during the afternoon or the morning when most of the traffic is occurring. Congress is on recess during this period of time, as you all know too, so there's less activity going on in that area, which is another reason we chose this date in August to put the race on. You know, your roads, we have 220 manhole covers. I know that number. We counted them all. Okay, those manhole covers that we have to look at have to be smooth. So there are about 49 that we'll put some silicone on and smooth them out. We'll take the silicone off after the race. That's the kind of measures we do. Every manhole cover has to be welded down, like you do for inauguration. You weld your manhole covers down. Every one of our manhole covers has to be welded down. Why? Our race cars will suck the manhole covers off their places if they're not. So all those details we go into in preparation for this race that we do and we're responsible for at our cost and doing as well too. Relative to after the race, remember, our cars are only 1,700 pounds. The car you're driving right now is probably 3,500 pounds. We don't cause damage to your roads, okay? I have not yet, in all the years I've done racing and street courses, had to go out and repair roads afterwards, okay? So that's an issue that's not prevalent. The good news about your roads, Tom, I see back from DDOT back here as well, is that the aggregate that you use for your asphalt is the aggregate that we want for your roads. When it gets hot, our tires get hot, they get sticky. Your asphalt that you have here is the right aggregate to ensure it is not coming up during our race. Okay?
Okay, last question, and then, and Sharon, if you have anything to add, I'll go to you next. Yes.
Mike Murillo at WTOP. A couple questions. So one on topic. I know the Red Line project is still going on. It'll be going on during. Can you, Mr. Clark, talk a bit about that impact and how the buses will work through this and increase crowds because you have some bigger parking lots along the Red Line in Maryland? And on an off-topic question, can you talk a bit more about the decision not to sign the budget and why you didn't veto it as opposed to why you didn't veto it as opposed to just leaving your signature off?
Well, I think I laid out in a lot of detail why I didn't sign it. I think that it sets up a big cliff for next year that could have and should have been avoided, in my opinion. And it is the council's prerogative, certainly, to do that, but I don't think it was a good idea.
Not signing it, much like when you did veto the omnibus crime bill several years ago, it kind of opens the door to, and I know they don't need the door open for them, but for more congressional interference when it comes to the district's budget. Can you address those concerns that some people might have that by not signing the budget that you have possibly enabled members of Congress to further meddle in the D.C. affairs?
Well, as you rightly state, Mark, the Congress is always the Congress's prerogative to weigh in on D.C.'s laws. And until we become a state, that type of interference is possible. My letter in no way says Congress changed what the council did. In fact, it said the opposite. It said it's the council's prerogative to create the budget they want. But I think it is important to be clear that it sets up a big fiscal problem for next year, which could be on top of other inflationary pressures that impact our revenue. So I just want to be clear about that. And I also have to be, it's not the first time I haven't signed a budget or a piece of legislation from the council. And the mayor has a certain part in the legislative process. And that process is to present laws, to present a budget, to send my agency directors to the council and testify on our views, to send letters which I have done throughout this budget process. This is not the first letter that I identified the fiscal cliff. I did it when they voted the first time on first reading, and I've done it again. So my role in this process, I talked about up to this point, and I chose not to co-sign on these decisions. Yes.
Chief?
Yes.
Scott Taylor, 7 News. Chief Carroll, the MPD Internal Affairs report showed that you were the first person to find issues with the crime numbers and push for an investigation. With that said, who do you think should be held accountable for what the Inspector General found about environment and culture that possibly allowed that within the department?
Let me just start here by saying Chief Carroll has agreed to the recommendations issued by the Inspector General, and the Inspector General really is in the best position, and I've called on them many times in the last 12 years to look at management processes, to look for controls in the environment, and to make recommendations around those controls. When that happens and when that is robust, we know that individual behavior is less incentivized. And so that's why we take these recommendations very seriously. Chief Carroll has already begun to implement those recommendations. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Scott, as the Mayor said, I agree to all the Inspector General's recommendations as it relates to that. You know, my expectation for any member of the police department, may it be an officer, may it be an official, maybe myself, is to make sure that we are accurately reporting crime, we're classifying crime accurately within the DC code. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We've worked with our officers and officials to have additional training as it relates to that. We're going to continue to do that. We're also establishing the Office of Data Analytics that will be there to help oversee and make sure and to fact check that outside of the process. So we're continuing with those improvements that we spoke about. Again, we're going to continue to move forward. You know, for individuals that may have violated policy, those aspects, of course, there is a procedure for that that'll go through the administrative procedure with that and the outcome as appropriate by the general orders. So, thank you.
Was the fact that in 2013, before the decline in the stats issues came between 2015 and 25, there was a unit that was designed to look at these statistics that was shut down. So I'm wondering what your role was in that, if any, in that decision in 2013, and if you can explain, if you know what the thinking was in 2013, why that unit was shut down.
Sure. So, Mark, in 2013, I believe I was a lieutenant in the 3rd District, so I don't have much insight into the background of that. What I do know is we did go through several records management systems and the processes with that, to which we now end up in our current records management system. So I believe that some of those changes facilitated that, but the new Office of Data Integrity and Analytics, it will replace that unit, it will do that function and also do more analytics and even raise that bar higher than what that office previously did.
You asked the question about the red line. Okay.
Thanks for the question. So as you know, the red line right now is shut down from Friendship Heights to North Bethesda. We're doing a pretty significant second entrance project with integration to the purple line. We're also doing rebuilding of the Grosvenor platform and significant track infrastructure work during our kind of normal summer construction outage. So right now, depending on the day, we're running over 100 buses at our shuttle. It is a very large shuttle. I think it might go down as the largest bus shuttle we've ever done in Metro's history. We've had over 400,000 people already on the shuttle. We really thank our customers for their patience. We understand there's been some hot days. Generally speaking, the shuttle has gone really well. Day 1's always rough. Day 2's a little bit better. Day 3, then it usually turns out really well. So one, we appreciate their patience. We're currently on schedule and on budget for our projects, and we're doing everything we can to squeeze every day to be done as fast as we can on those. What we really encourage people to do is, and I think Bud hit this theme early, go early. So if you live or you visit from Friendship Heights north, especially Bethesda north, give yourself some extra time. Most of the commuters on a daily basis have this down really well now. We have between Montgomery County DOT, Maryland DOT, DDOT, we've worked really well on the traffic movement. I can't say enough about, Sharon, you're getting a lot of love today and deserve it so. The street guards and traffic control officers working up there have been amazing. And so if you're up there, the flow is going really well. But I think it's really important everyone give themselves a few extra minutes. It is the weekend, so generally this goes pretty well. But Friday, maybe an extra few minutes, and I think everything will be okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.